and welcome back to another episode of whatever the hell it is we're doing. I'm your host, Edworth Engelbert, and my co-host, Susan.
That's a good song. A boy named Susan.
A boy named Sue.
Sue. Yeah, short for Susan.
And maybe one of the few country songs that I'm aware of. Yes, and I enjoy. Thank you very much. But no, I really don't like country. I think there's a difference between folk and country.
Yeah.
Because I like folk. I like folk music.
I like bluegrass.
Bluegrass is fine. Yeah. Bluegrass falls more into the folk than country does for me. I think the problem is country incorporated too much rock and roll into it to be all that appealing to me, if that makes sense.
But you listen to rock and roll.
I know.
So you're just like, why would I listen to country when I could listen to rock and roll?
Exactly.
Okay, I get you.
I mean, so maybe it's the same kind of basic issue that I have with Christian rock.
Yeah.
Where it's like rock and roll is supposed to be about rebellion and about being free to do things that you want. Christianity, in broad terms, not so much. So
you're getting stabbed with a bunch of spikes, right?
And I got a map though, so
yeah.
it's okay.
Did you need metal boots or something to do that?
No. So this blue rod will protect me, or the magic cape will protect me.
You just didn't want to use them.
In retrospect, I probably ought to have.
All right. I just...
So normally I would be getting this item, the cane of Somalia or whatever, in this dungeon. But I got it somewhere else.
I'm gonna say it's probably not Somalia.
Well, it's Samaria. Well, it's the cane of Samaria in the English version, but there is enough precedence for me to believe that it's possible they mistranslated.
You ever seen an episode of South Park where they go to become Somali pirates?
Oh yeah.
Okay. It's always great when Butters gets caught up in Eric's things.
Uh-huh.
And the best part is that Butters hates Erik more than anybody because of what he's done to him, but he still keeps falling for it.
Butters is that one little friend kid that you had who you've told them to go away, you've been mean to them, you've done everything your parents told you not to do to your friends to make him stop being your friend, and he just doesn't fucking get it.
I don't know, the other boys don't really seem to have don't have much of a problem with Butters.
I know. Well, it's because the other boys aren't Erik Cartman.
Yeah.
Erik Cartman is the most judgmental son of a bitch that's ever existed on television. But you know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
That's, Butters is that kid where it's all you can straight up tell him to his face,
yeah.
I don't like you, leave me alone, and he'd be like, well, golly, that doesn't sound very nice to me. It's no, it's not. Congratulations, you got it. Go away.
Have you ever done a friend breakup?
Yeah, dude. We had one, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Middle school.
I guess I was that kid at that moment, because...
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I 100% admit that's 100% my fault. I just became an asshole for no reason.
I don't know, it rarely bugged me, just because it's I don't know, I guess I just kind of was alright, this is what the world is, and I just kind of considered you a sparring partner after that.
We made good rivals for each other.
Yeah.
I was the dashing, handsome one, you were the rugged, good-looking one. I knew you'd be upset if I didn't, attribute something to you, so...
Yeah, I think rugged's good, because, my beard's a little bit thicker than yours, so I think that's fair.
Well, for sure. But chicks do like blonde guys, so...
German chicks.
Oh, no, pretty much anyone south of Texas just loves blonde hair, blue-eyed guys. And that's how I got married.
She still doesn't know this is a dye job.
The blue hair hasn't tipped her off yet. That's one of the many things that my viewers may have noticed. My hair color changed. Totally natural, 100%, no dye in this whatsoever.
He just eats a lot of blueberries.
I'm like Violet Beauregard. Wonka told me not to eat the gum, but I'm like, fuck you, Wonka, I'm gonna do whatever I do. Besides, you look like Gene Wilder. And,
wasn't it kind of more horrifying in like the Tim Burton version when you see all the kids leaving at the end, and they're like all...
The worst part is that's supposed to be more reassuring.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to... Okay, we're gonna just kind of talk while this room plays itself out.
Because, yeah, when you're a kid, you're always like, did they die? What happened to them? And so this one was supposed to be like the answer to that, and it was kind of more horrific than not knowing.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, if I recall correctly, the book is a lot more explicit on, like, yes, they're fine. It's not just, like, Wonka in a fit of rage, like, they're fine, go home, Charlie.
Yeah.
You know, that's the exact kind of thing that someone would say when they want someone to stop asking probing questions.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what Harvey Weinstein's saying right now. Everything's fine. Go home.
We're getting political there, Terry. I just think
this is at the point where nobody likes Harvey Weinstein. Like, if it comes back around against me in a few months, then...
The one thing that I've learned about politics is, doesn't matter if people like him. The fact that you're saying bad things about him is reason enough to hate you.
I guess so. Well, he's not really. He's in Hollywood. He's not a politician, so everybody's got.
It's still a political bent. Because that's all politics really means nowadays. Is here are the short list of reasons I'm allowed to hate people.
Eh.
On either side, it's
anyway.
It just comes
we were
down
talking
to
about something
anger.
better. What were we talking about?
Violet Beauregard.
Oh, yeah.
She was way hotter after the blueberry, right?
She was 12, you monster.
Let's go back to talking about politics. That seems safer now.
Yes, that seems safer. Like I said, she was 12. Oh, God, it's over.
That and blueberries.
It's over. Like, we didn't even get started, and it's over. Thank you, Eric.
Alright, we'll just run the title card again. Oh fuck! I don't have a title card. I can't pull the Game Grumps and we're the Game Grumps things. I don't have a fun little jingle at the beginning. Yeah. So we just jump into it and be like, "Hi, we're assholes."
But it's kind of like horrific. Like Mike TV is stretched out and he's like 7 feet
No, for
tall.
sure.
Yeah. To be Violet just being pushed down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of horrible.
All things considered, I think Agustus Gloop kind of came off the best there.
He was just covered in chocolate, right?
And God knows that's probably what, like, the night before he's like, tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be covered in chocolate.
This is my dream, Mama.
Like, yeah, it was uncomfortable in the tube, but hey, chocolate.
Overall, not a bad day.
Things are coming up, Augustus.
I want to see the movie from his point of view now. Everything's coming up Augustus.
Well, it is true, because it's like...
He just runs off with that and has a happy life.
Well, it's just like, to be fair, there's an entire length of the movie where they're still having a tour, and Augustus apparently is in the marshmallow room or something.
Here's a question. So, Augustus makes, like, the lead... Like, he's kind of... Like, I know it kind of slowly weeds out the worst children at the end.
Uh-huh.
But, like... Augustus, like, his sins are... I know it's gluttony, but it's kind of a basic thing that could have happened. He falls into the chocolate river. Well, and I get that he falls in while he falls in his mouth. But...
Okay, so, well, there's a lot to unpack in that scene. Much like the packed fudge in Wonka's factory, where Agustus Gloop was sent to in the tube. I've had some sort of pun with fudge packing stuck with that this entire time. So just roll with it.
All right.
Okay, so I understand it's like, okay, gluttony, Augustus, no, stop, like, my chocolate must not be touched by human hands. At what point entering that room did Wonka say, like, alright, everything in this room is edible, but please avoid the chocolate fountain?
Yeah. Chocolate river.
You had tomato. Chocolate waterfall, you know? Like,
yeah.
It's like, eat everything in this room! Oh, but not that one thing that is the centerpiece of the room. Don't touch that, please. You know, and I get the whole, like, okay, he told him to stop, and Agustus was so lost in a frenzy of gluttony that he didn't, like, he couldn't stop. Yeah. Must consume chocolate. But, to be fair, like, There was not a sign. There's nothing there. There was no lifeguard. And you're telling me Oompa Loompas are so proficient that there is literally no safety precaution around that at all? An Oompa Loompa falls into that river and it's just like, okay, that's another dead one.
They just panned up from Agustus being stuck in there, and there's just a dead Oompa Loompa about 3 feet above him. Slowly making its way through. Just be like, God damn it.
Just walk. It's like, after those whole batch out. It's just kind of like mildly upset about the chocolate being ruined, not so much that, oh god, one of my slave workers died.
Yeah, in the book it is a little bit more racist because aren't they pygmies in the book?
Yeah, they're pygmies from an ancient African tribe.
Yeah,
you know,
probably better to go with orange and green or Moss Deep. I can't remember the name of the actor.
Mos Def.
No, that's the black guy. That's that rapper.
Mos Eisley.
Moss something. You are not. Oh, fuck you.
The
Deacon Frost.
The little guy who played him in the Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably safer to go with one of them. Which, you know, I liked the music better in the Tim Burton one, but fuck me if I can remember any of it.
I can always remember the Augustus Gloop song.
That one was catchy.
I
could kind of remember, yeah. Augustus
Gloop, the fat and lazy. But we can't sing more than that because we have a lot of so.
Yeah.
Oh wow, the magic tape makes this boss fight like a cakewalk. I'm just gonna... I mean, it's like not very interesting to watch, but...
Let's see, and then who was the one that wanted... I wanted it.
Violet Beauregard and... Oh damn it, I'm kind of sad that I can't remember this. I can picture both the actors who played it. God damn it.
Like, I can think of...
Evidently, it's been too long. I need to watch that movie again. I only watch it like every 6 months religiously because I love that movie so much.
Yeah. The movie scared me as a kid, but I like it as an adult.
Really, the only part that scared me, like the old one, the only part of the movie that scared me was when
the water tunnel.
Okay, well, to be fair, that scared everyone, but that wasn't as scary to me as the part where they were like floating up towards the blades. That scared me as a little kid because it's like, oh my god, they're gonna die! And like when I first watched it, I was young enough that I guess it hadn't clicked in my head that it's gonna be the same movie every time.
Yeah.
I mean, enough of it clearly clicked because it was like, I want to watch Willy Wonka because I like the things in Willy Wonka. But every single time they sort of floating up towards those blades, they're like, "Oh my god, they're gonna show me they're gonna show me someone die," you know?
Show me this kid and old man die, and then the movie's just gonna keep going.
It's gonna be really weird because it's gonna be holding on still shots of where it's supposed to be Charlie or the old man, Charlie or Uncle Joe, and there's just nothing there.
Veruca Salt.
Thank you. I knew it was a V.
Yeah, that was gonna.
That was the reason why it's like I'm like it's Violet. No, Violet.
I know.
Beauregard is someone else. Veruca.
Let's see.
This is kind of it is kind of strange that for a worldwide contest that all of the kids came from Europe.
No, Mike TV was from the U.S.
Oh, that is true. Okay, so we'll replace it. Like with the exception of Germany, they were all English speakers, which is really fucking handy for Wonka.
Yeah.
Even though he did kind of imply that he was multilingual.
Yeah.
Through several points in the original movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, I mean, like, imagine, like, because the original guy was, like, the biggest claim to fame Uruguay had up to that moment was the fact that it was either Uruguay or Paraguay. It was, like, the guy who faked the last winning golden ticket was from there.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, not only does that seem to have, like, slight racist overtones to me, undertone, where it's just like, well, of course, the guy who would lie about getting the ticket was from South America. Not, like, all the other, like, it seems like Hugh actually would have fit in with the rest of the little shits who actually won the contest. It's like, yeah, I lied about getting the ticket, but, like, you ate 5 children's weight in chocolate to get yours, Augustus. Veruca, you've got to be only winning by a technicality because you actually paid people to open wrappers for you. You didn't even play the contest.
Yeah. Well,
Like, you would think Wonka would at least be a little upset about her, right? Because it's like...
Yeah.
Like, everyone else is like, yeah, I ate Wonka. I mean,
he obviously watched the things to set the tour up the way he did.
Did he? I always assumed that...
I mean, that is kind of right, because, you know,
Like,
Charlie and Grandpa Joe just kind of randomly wander into that thing. Like, there's no way that Wonka could have known that they would have snuck in there to drink that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was obviously expected that they weren't going to, you know? But, like, logically speaking, that's the only real rational explanation of how that tour broke down the way that it did.
Yeah.
Was somehow Wonka had to have known each one of their biggest faults. Which, granted...
You had the gum chewer go into the gum room, you had the kid obsessed with chocolate in the chocolate river, you had the wealthy girl go into the gold room, you had Mike TV go into the TV room.
Well, and it's like, you've got to, like, you have to admit, like, that it wouldn't have been hard for him to, like, stalk those children, because, I mean, all of that was apparent from the, like, fucking, like, the news reports talking about them.
Yeah.
Like, Mike TV was glued to the TV in both of them.
Yeah.
I did like Mike TV's update, and I did appreciate that, that, like, Wonka did have kind of an issue where it's like, oh yeah, you cheated. Like, I beat your system. It's like, yeah, you cheated. Like, he was upset about it, but he's like, it technically wasn't in the rules that you couldn't do that, so okay, you won!
I don't remember, when is this?
In the second one. It was he's kind of upset, like, you're the boy who hacked into my supply lines. You know?
Yeah.
Like, the undertone was like, that was the only one he was kind of unhappy about, because he completely, like, ruined the spirit of the contest, which was about promoting sales, obviously, because people were buying Wonka bars left and right, but this is the only person who only bought one Wonka bar and didn't even eat it.
Yeah.
He bought it for the ticket to win.
Yeah.
You know? And, like, Wonka was upset about that, especially when you consider, like, if we find out the whole thing was about him trying to find a worthy successor, it's like, well, that was a wasted space, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because clearly this is not one of the people who's going to be interested in running my factory.
Yeah. In fairness, Mike TV might have been, I mean, he probably would have been a good businessman.
I don't think so. Because the problem with Mike TV is he had very poor impulse control. All of the children really did.
Yeah.
In fact, even when you think about it, even Charlie and Uncle Joe did.
Yeah.
The only difference is that Charlie and Uncle Joe, like, knew and acknowledged that as a shortcoming, where all the rest of them were just like, well, this wasn't fair at all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of funny.
Actually, when you really break it down, the entire like contest and the tour really was just like, in order for you to run a candy store as a child, you really do need to have some pretty bitchin' impulse control.
Yeah.
That's actually not a bad way to test all of that.
No, that's not a bad. Yeah. You know, one thing I do have to say though is, if there was like one country that I think that there should have been, and this is going to point me out as an anime fan and a manga fan.
Japan.
But yeah, Japan, they love chocolate. Like, there's like, what, 20 flavors of Kit Kats in Japan or something? Like, it's a huge candy culture.
You know what the most baffling thing to me was, at least in the original, was how they kept, like, it was clear that the golden ticket was always in the standard Wonka chocolate bar.
Yeah.
Right? But they also imply, like, the Candyman implies, like,
there's several different types.
well, there's different Wonka bars, like the Scrumdiddlyumptious bar,
Yeah.
right? But he also seems to imply that those two were selling out because people were looking for the golden ticket. Which means that, like, were there golden tickets hidden in other candy bars?
Yeah.
Or was it only the standard Wonka bar?
Plus, what if kids didn't find it? What if it was just like...
Well, no, like, that's the other thing. Is in the first one, and technically in all the versions, like, the guy who supposedly won the last one was some older South American guy, remember?
Yeah.
From Paraguay or Uruguay.
Yeah.
Fuck, I hate this term. waste of time.
That's fine. But I'm just...
Yeah, the fact that it was always, like, a kid accompanied with an adult instead of an adult, it's like, yeah, I brought my son along.
Yeah. Let's see.
We're going down the rabbit hole now, guys. He's got the phone out, and we're looking shit up. Paraguay. Biggest claim to fame is that biggest claim to fame for Paraguay was that the guy who faked the Wonka ticket came from your country. I'm offending all my Paraguayan fans. If you're offended, leave an angry comment in the section below. We read all our comments.
And because we don't read comments that don't have likes.
Also subscribe so you can watch, so you'll be notified when the video apology comes out.
Yeah, we don't have an agenda at all.
We really don't. We're all over the place.
All right, so
the only political agenda we have is to not discuss politics, and we're all over the place on that too.
All right, so here's the real question. At the end of the day, excluding actors, excluding everything, which Chocolate Factory is the better movie?
Oh, better movie?
Yeah.
Oh, totally the first one.
Okay.
More faithful representation of the source material is the second one.
Yeah.
For sure. Even the stuff they added felt more Roald Dahl than anything the first movie did.
Yeah.
I mean, Christopher Lee was just fantastic in that. And just like that as Wonka's origin story is just right. It's just...
Oh, yeah, it fit.
It was just perfect. Where it's just like... It's because Roald Dahl has this idea of capturing the weird fears that you have as a little kid, and then kind of giving them some like realistic backing, but
kind of taking the teeth away from him too. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like
That's actually kind of good because he was a dentist.
I got what you're doing. I just didn't want to acknowledge it.
I try to add layers, and the layers maybe it's not worth the effort.
I'm an ogre. I've got layers. No, it's just I really did like that because it was the whole like if I catch you eating candy, I'll move away. I'll move away and never come back. Like the kind of empty threat you'd hear your parents make. Yeah. Because they knew it's going to get a rise out of you and make you at least as a little innocent child think twice about being an asshole. Yeah. The fact that it's like he does it and it does it in the most childish way possible. Like the entire house is just gone. Yeah. And even better, like later in the movie, you find out it's just like in the middle of a snowfield in Antarctica. You know, like it's just like no. Fucking, I told you not to eat candy. I told you not to, and you did anyways. You suffer the consequences, not me. Yeah.
There was, you know what, I would say that the second one, there are some things that I would be willing to give the second one. If it weren't for just like some pacing things that are like, you know, Charlie being like, no, I don't want the factory, and then him having to like fix Wonka and all that. I did like the glass elevator better though.
Glass elevator was fantastic. Yeah. Even the gags in it, where it's all like, here's the marshmallow room, here's the fudge room, and here's a relatively new room, the puppet hospital and burn ward. Yeah. We're just like that was a good gag. That was a pretty good callback to the horrible thing that happened at the very beginning of the movie. Yeah. Just because it's like the fact that evidently this shit happened without Wonka knowing or correlating these two events. You know, he's not the one who told them to make the ward. The Oompa Loompas just built a new ward and started treating the puppets, and they're just like I get to imagine like he just got a memo. He's like, oh, this is something interesting that happened today.
I did like the introduction of Wonka a little bit better in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where like you think there's going to be this big reveal and he's just standing behind them watching the show. And that was actually kind of fun.
Well, and just like the very matter of fact, like, well, I wouldn't be able to watch the show very well from down there. Up there now, would I? Yeah. Like, checkmate, 5-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't know, people give Johnny Depp a lot of shit for it, but I get what he was going for. I really do, and I understand.
It was very much like someone who
never grew up.
Yeah, he was just a child in like a true like Hook kind of fashion. Yeah. And it was I don't know, I liked it. Yeah. There's definitely, you know, it's comparing apples to oranges ultimately because like they both do good things, they both do bad things. Gene Wilder, like, you can't get around the fact that entire movie just exists to sell a candy bar that ultimately was a commercial failure.
Yeah.
You know? Everything about that movie...
Okay. But at the end of the day, you have this amazing performance by Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder, and really, the children were fantastic too. Granted, they went out of their way to like do everything they could to make it so the kids didn't have to act. Like the first time they see the candy room, that's their actual reaction to seeing the candy room.
Yeah,
and they're like, "Holy shit!" Okay, now I can't go that way. I need to find one of those crystal switches. Shit. Damn it. So I need to find the crystal switch because I can go to the final boss, but I need to get through here. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Maybe I don't need that. Because I've got the cane. I don't need that. So supposedly you're actually supposed to beat this dungeon before you beat the swamp dungeon that I just did.
Yeah.
And because you're supposed to like basically run through this dungeon twice. You hit the switch, push down a couple blocks to hold down a lever in this room, right? Yeah. So 2 blocks fall from the ceiling above, and it'll hold down that button. But if you go out of sequence, you've got that for you.
Oh.
You know, I always feel bad that we don't talk more about the game, but it's kind of hard to feel bad because I really enjoyed that discussion we just had about Willy Wonka.
Yeah, I mean, it's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is definitely one of those weird movies that. I mean, it's a cult movie because it wasn't supposed to be what it became. I mean, there are so few movies that have that longevity. Even Oscar-winning movies. There's a lot that don't have that longevity.
Well, to be fair, a lot of Oscar movies. A lot of Oscar movies have the problem that the reason why they win awards is because they're so like. Set up on current events.
Yeah.
Where it's like, wow, it's really, like, the fact they're able to put something together so timely, and relevant is worthy of an award in of itself.
Yeah.
You know? So that's kind of neat.
Did you ever see Boyhood?
No.
I would at the very least recommend watching it once. It's about 3 hours. But at the very least, it's impressive because... You know, it took them like 12 years to make this movie.
I'm not sure how I killed all 3 of them like right exactly at the same time, but there was a lot of lag coming from those explosions.
Yeah, but at the very least, you know, but it's interesting because you know what it does because it took them 12 years to make this movie because they shot one scene a year for 12 years. Yeah, that's that movie. The story is not actually that interesting, in fairness. And it's just supposed to be like these points in this kid's life, but that kind of help him out and build him into the person he is, which is interesting, but at the same point, you kind of can't help but feel like maybe we could have tied this into a more cohesive story. Like, I get it, that's not how life works, but it is a movie.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, as a work of art, fantastic.
Yeah.
As film, shit.
Yeah, kind of. Like, when Erica and I finished it, I was just like, that was a cinematic achievement. It was really boring and I never want to watch it again.
Yeah. It's one of those things that's kind of in the same vein as The Room. Yeah, sure, there's an HD and standard version of the film.
Don't need the HD
you don't. I guess someone had to be the first. There's no reason for there to exist, but someone eventually had to. Oh, Tommy Wiseau would be so angry if he turns out like there's some Chinese filmmaker who did that like 10 years before.
That would actually be kind of interesting to find out. You know, one thing, so my Google cards have learned of my interest of Tommy Wiseau in The Room, and so apparently he was in, I don't know if it was a bit part or if he was a main character in this movie that came out this week or that came out last weekend, and Google was telling me about it, and I'm like, man, I think I should research Tommy Wiseau too much. Not even research. I just will type him into Google and I'll just watch interviews on YouTube or watch videos or watch the Tommy Lee Show, and like I do go to his website every now and then because I really do want to pick up The Room, or not The Room. I would pick up the room on Blu-ray, but I want to pick up The Neighbors because I can't find it anywhere else because they took it off of Hulu. And The Neighbors is at the same time worse and a better expression of Tommy Wiseau.
I'm really looking forward to The Disaster Artist.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Best Friends. Best Fiends. The one that he's doing with Greg Sestero.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
So,
the biggest problem that I've had with The Disaster Artist from the trailers that I've seen is there's a lot of stuff in it that wasn't in the book, and it makes Greg Sestero seem a lot more like a co-conspirator than just this guy who was there and was kind of supporting a friend and kind of got sucked into things.
Well, it makes me wonder if maybe that's not on purpose.
Yeah.
Like it was, like, in order for... Okay, so this is the Great Queen Fairy, right? And she's going to give me the silver arrows. And she tells me that she was cursed by Ganon's magic to look the way she does. And you know what? I think she's too hard on herself. She should be proud of who she is, because a fairy isn't measured by her outward beauty, but by the amount of cool shit she can give an adventurer.
Yeah.
Right?
And she does give you
She gives me the best sword in the game, which I'm going to get right now.
She upgrades the Master Sword?
The Tempered Sword.
Tempered?
To the Golden Sword.
So now you have a Golden Master Sword.
And this is my favorite part about this. If you listen really carefully, like, listen to the bass behind the sword.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of cool.
Alright, so next time on Every Game Ever, we're going to go take on Turtle Rock, probably. I hope. Because we have to have the medallion to get in there. We'll find out next time. We'll see you crazy cats later. Terry, you want to add anything?
What happens, happens.
What happens, happens. What happens in Hyrule stays on YouTube. See you next time.